WEFUNK. We funk.
And I guess, speaking of a guy that's desperate for a mega fight, I guess in very a similar fashion, but the number 2 fight I want to see, but a mega fight for Terrence Bud Crawford, who I guess is in the same boat as Lomachenko, although I guess for slightly different reasons, however, as I've mentioned. But I guess Crawford and Lomachenko as well are really at this point kind of, both really, in most accounts, as well as I guess Errol Spence, who's kind of sidelined by injury at the moment after the car crash situation, but really thought of as the 2 true pound-for-pound kings. And as well, Terrence Crawford, the undefeated champion, with quite the resume on paper himself, a multi-division champion. Of course, he was the grand unifier, holding all 4 belts at, I guess, junior welterweight. But on paper, an amazing resume from Terrence Bud Crawford. However, in a very similar situation for Lomachenko, has not been able to wind up in a true marquee mega fight against a real headlining star in a major boxing situation. All right, he's headlined the Garden. He's headlining spots. Just headlined the Garden last week. However, on a triple bill with 2 other headlining caliber matches, like I said, but has really yet to just truly hold down a center stage in the boxing world with, a major pay-per-view sized fight. All right. And as well, Crawford kind of in the situation as well, being ESPN Top Rank's kind of main promotional platform and kind of the main man for ESPN to kind of build their whole boxing, programming around. However, having an impossible time getting a fight off against any of the other great welterweights. And like I mentioned as well, the welterweight division perhaps the most loaded with big-name talent, or as stacked with big-name talent as any other division in the sport. However, Terrence Bud Crawford, kind of a victim of the business of boxing in 2020, as he stands alone on an island, as the lone welterweight signed with ESPN Top Rank, as most of the other greats in the division are with PBC or Showtime, and just not able to wrangle off a deal with ESPN Top Rank. All right, which, what I mentioned earlier, is a huge factor about the Fury Wilder pay-per-view being co-produced by Fox ESPN. You really feel that could definitely be a very, very positive sign for more mega fights in the future between the different, promoters and the different networks and all of that. Have some PBC fighters fighting some Top Rank guys, and have some matches, with on ESPN with fighters that might be, more on the Fox contract. They got to figure something out as the boxing game progresses and gets more popular here in 2020. But that has really been the one curse in Terrence Crawford's career, as over the last couple years, guys like Errol Spence and Danny Garcia and Sean Porter have all been able to fight each other in, big nights in boxing, including the Porter-Spence fight last year, Big LWKO Cast 2019 Fight of the Year, and a real, a major headlining event for the sport at the Staples Center in Los Angeles. Crawford has been able to, despite being, perhaps way better fighter than both those guys, has yet to be in that kind of situation. Danny Garcia's headlined Barclays how many times? Terrence Crawford is trying to get himself up on that the next level of, the great names in the sport. however, needs, much like Lomo, needs a mega fight to help him along the way. All right, as I guess, really, all the rumors were the Crawford-Spence fight, which is really the fight that everybody in the sport wanted to see, the best potential fight that you can see in boxing in 2019 was Spence-Crawford. All right, after the Spence Classic win versus Porter, you kind of thought that that was what you were going to see in 2020, and that would definitely be the number one fight on the list, on the Big LW top 5 list, if it was not for the, potentially horrific car accident for Errol Spence that happened, a couple of days or a couple of weeks shortly after that classic fight versus Porter. However, involved in the one car accident, flipping his Ferrari in Dallas, in his hometown of Dallas. However, really appears to be a miraculous recovery and everything, and he did not sustain any severe injuries, and is really on track, I guess, to make a full comeback and to be boxing again in 2020. However, I'm not yet ready to put him back up at the mega fight versus Terrence Crawford, without missing a beat, before seeing him in the ring and seeing a little bit of the recovery process take place. Just in all reality, your body recovering from such a high impact, just crazy situation. He might feel great, but is he going to be, the second or third best pound for pound boxer in the world like he was before the flip? So I guess that will be seen, and I guess that does kind of take away from some of the sizzle and excitement around a potential Spence Crawford, mega fight and unification battle in the welterweight division. But that does leave some other big names like Sean Porter, like Danny Garcia, even potentially a guy like Jose Ramirez or Josh Taylor, who I mentioned, moving up from junior welterweight to welterweight. Could be interesting, coming up with big names. Could be interesting opponents there. However, I do believe that a very, very interesting name on the list, and a potentially very, very fun and historic kind of fight, as well the one with the least logistical headaches, would very well be, and I guess kind of coming from the vein of the fights that I mentioned before, where some fights are better to take because of the name and not the opponent, where perhaps the fight we all want to see may very well be Terrence Crawford versus Danny Garcia. The fight that everybody would watch would be Terrence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao, the Pac-Man, who, if you haven't been watching, is back on comeback pursuit, and as a matter of fact, holds a title at the welterweight division after the shocking upset to Keith Thurman in the Big LW KO Cast 2019 Upset of the Year, edging out the Ruiz whole situation. Because I can't believe that Thurman jobbed out to the Pac-Man. Is just really a shocking result in a fight that I did not watch live. When I saw the decision, I was absolutely shocked, because at the time I was thinking that Thurman was kind of bullying on a Manny Pacquiao on his last leg, taking a big payday. And of course, Manny Pacquiao is one of the all-time greats on a short list of all-time greats in the sport. All right, and of course, a true superstar, still one of the biggest names and most recognizable names in the entire sport of boxing. Of course, just a true, superstar and renaissance man in his native Philippines, where he's done everything from press, pop albums, to be the president or whatever, like elected office he held in the Philippines. But just an epic, persona of a superstar, both in the ring and out, for the Pac-Man, who would by far provide the biggest name and the most excitement around any potential fight for Crawford in the division outside of an Errol Spence, who we just mentioned will have to wait and watch recover from the whole car crash situation. But a Manny Pacquiao-Terrence Crawford fight further would, first of all, would serve to unify belts, all right? So Manny Pacquiao is a standing champion, so it's not exactly like he's bullying an aging Manny Pacquiao that's just desperate for one more moment in the sun and one more big fight and big moment in his already epic career, which would be on the table for Pacquiao. I guess for Pacquiao's side, it would be, like a George Foreman-esque, late age, late career, highlight defining moment, for his resume, for his already, like I just said, endless resume of success in the sport. One more just, amazing moment of success for Pac-Man would be on the table, with literally no risk. Because if he lost, it would still be an amazing job that he, held a strap at this age anyway. However, Crawford would, be literally unifying the division. So definitely, a worthy fight from that standpoint. And like I said, from the business standpoint, really a fight that would put Terrence Crawford in front of more eyes than he's ever been in front of before. More, like I said, 30 for 30 and ESPN, profile pieces on SportsCenter, and he would be, the main man on the biggest sports network in the world for a week or two leading up to the fight, which is exactly what Terrence Crawford needs to put himself in the mind of the sports public and not just the boxing public, because Terrence Crawford is the pound-for-pound king and true superstar in the boxing world. However, Terrence Crawford can walk down 6th Avenue in Manhattan and nobody will in the world would know who he is. All right, Terrence Crawford needs to get himself famous. A fight like Manny Pacquiao would put him on the map of just notoriety in the sports world, which is a good place to start before your pursuit of a mega fight versus one of the other guys in the division. Right. So really, I would say one of the most interesting options for Terrence Crawford would be a mega fight versus the Pac-Man. And in a lot of ways, I wouldn't want to see it, however, because I don't know if I want to see the Pac-Man go out like that. And Terrence Crawford is no Keith Thurman, and the Pac-Man, I don't think, would be able to make it 12 versus Terrence Bud Crawford in, however, you never know with the Pac-Man, and just stylistically, both of them are very aggressive, both of them are very fast, both of them throw, a lot of punches. Crawford come at you from both sides, Pacquiao comes at you nonstop, so they both have, unique defined styles, and if Pacquiao is, if it was Pacquiao in his prime versus Crawford, we're talking, all-time classic. If Pacquiao can, and Pacquiao has truly been, a physical prodigy for his entire career. So if at this age he can produce one more, 12 more amazing rounds, I guess it wouldn't be a shock. However, it would be must-watch TV. And the number 2 fight that I would hope to see in 2020, but Terrence Crawford in a mega fight, most specifically versus the Pac-Man Pacquiao. So, Crawford Pacquiao, however, Crawford Porter or Crawford Garcia would be worthy backups. However, definitely want to see Terrence Crawford in a welterweight mega fight in 2020.
Big F! WEFUNK. We funk.